Welcome to our next episode of Roommate Things. This episode is just myself and Alex. Okay, so this episode we're going to talk about the United Healthcare CEO Pew Pewer. I don't know if I can say the real word.
You had to say Pew Pewer.
The Pew Pewer, the one that unalived the CEO. What's the CEO's name? Do you even know his name?
Brian Thompson.
Brian Thompson. First off, RIP to Brian Thompson, and I definitely feel bad for his entire family. No one should be murdered in cold blood like that. That's obviously not cool, and we don't condone that. So let's think about how did we get here, and let's also think about why are people so
Wait.
excited and not remorseful over this man's death.
All right, let's first talk about violence and what that means.
Okay,
as
go. Violence,
implication for a society, or its implications on a society.
Okay, go.
I think violence in our current society is obviously unacceptable by people who are not the state. Oddly enough, the only person who can actually commit acts of violence is the government. Why are they able to do it?
What do you mean?
And their justification is...
The government is not going around killing CEOs of American companies.
They don't kill CEOs. They kill children.
Oh,
and women in other countries. Let's talk about that. So I think in our current society or our current social contract, we allow the government to carry out violent acts against people that just can't defend themselves because, power corrupts power.
Okay, I don't know where you're going with this. Okay,
well,
the American government is not willingly murdering civilians. That's not happening.
It does it all the time in other countries. And there's well-documented stories about it. But what I'm trying to get at is, I'm not saying, obviously, him dying was, the correct form of action. But I will say that in a different society, maybe violence is a solution because, when it's violence against someone who's rich, it's considered a crime. But when it's violence against a poor person, you're suddenly not guilty. Like the guy in New York who was not guilty for killing a homeless man.
What do you mean the guy? So there's someone in New York that killed a homeless man.
Yeah, so today there is this guy, I think his name is Daniel Perry.
Today, literally today.
Yeah, today. I know, it's so weird, right? Because it's
that's crazy.
There's a CEO who was just murdered, and this guy's obviously they're like, oh no, this is bad. And then there's this other guy who's just free, not guilty for killing a black homeless man because he saw him as a threat.
Okay, he saw him as a threat, or was he holding a knife at his throat, or what was the threat?
No, he was just having
threat?
I don't know exactly the specifics, so I don't know the case yet in all its entirety.
Okay,
but
we'll look into
what
it.
I know is he was mentally ill. He was having an episode, and the guy saw him as a threat, and so he had him in a chokehold, and then obviously
murdered him.
Murdered him. Yeah.
That's crazy.
But then they were arguing oh, was it the chokehold? Was it the drugs that he was on? Was it this and all that? And it's what the fuck? Obviously it was a chokehold. You're not gonna fucking die from some mental. It was just stupid how the court sided with him. But obviously, when it comes to the justice system in America, it's all based on who has, I guess, the color of your skin, who has more money, who has more resources. And
I think I agree with money, obviously, because the more money you have, the easier it is to get off. But
why do you think? I
don't know if it's the color of your skin because O.J. Simpson got off when he was obviously guilty, and he was a black man, but he was rich.
We don't know if he was guilty. But
yes, we do. We know O.J. Simpson was guilty.
I want to say he was not guilty. But
what?
I don't want to say that. But I want to say no. It was some black homeless man. And it's obviously, let's say if it was some white CEO who was having some mental breakdown at the subway station and he was well dressed and everything, and someone just came and killed him because he was having a mental episode and saw him as a threat, they would have been no, you obviously murdered this guy. So it's just how is it because this guy who's obviously homeless, we see him as already a criminal because obviously he's homeless, and people see him as oh, they label him as, a criminal because he's already on the streets and who knows what he's doing. So it's they're obviously going to already that act of being homeless is already a crime.
Which obviously being homeless is not a crime.
So I think it was just so funny how that came out. And then there's this guy who killed the CEO of like a healthcare company who literally profits off people's lives, and they decide who lives and who doesn't based on the coverage that they approve and deny. And
Which is actually really funny because the whole goal is privatized healthcare, according to like Trump's plan is they want to completely privatize the health sector. And if you remember, that's when people with pre-existing conditions didn't get any coverage at all and they were constantly denied. And the Affordable Care Act is what actually stopped that from happening. And then that's when Trump said he has concepts of a plan. He's like, we can't have that anymore. And they're like, okay, well, what are you going to do? And he said, well, I have concepts of a plan, which obviously means you have no fucking plan at all. So I don't know how that's going to work out. And I don't know if this is the issue with privatized healthcare is that they just go on denying people in order to increase profit and increase payouts for shareholders. And that's what the CEOs get millions of dollars to do. So they're definitely incentivized to cut off coverage for people because that makes them more money.
Exactly. And so a lot of another recent like backlash that they had was, so, you know, like with AI and, you know, how many companies are using like AI as a way to like, you know, increase profits and help, you know, with their everyday operations. So what they had done is that they use this AI like model or whatever to decide whether to approve or deny claims. And over 90% of the claims were denied, and they made so much money off that. And then they figured out like, oh, there was an error in like the system. But they obviously, I feel like they knew there was an error, but they used that as a way.
Just to deny coverage.
Yeah. So if you look at the stock of United Healthcare, it has gone up like over the year, but obviously it dropped recently because of the whole killing and everything. But United Healthcare is obviously one of the bigger like competitors.
Isn't it like the fourth largest company in the US, like next to Apple, Google, Amazon?
I don't know about that, but they take a lot of market share when it comes to the healthcare space. So like they were literally like one of the better positioned stocks in like coming into like the new year and everything. And
that's so crazy.
That was like
to
the
me.
whole reason why
How
he was gonna go.
crazy
Like he had the conference that was gonna happen. And he was like, "Oh my God, we're about to make $450 billion in 2025 by screwing people over."
Yeah, how crazy is that? That you're like being celebrated and being paid bonuses, millions of dollars, just for cutting coverage to other like. That's the only way they really make more money. They either increase the premiums or they just deny coverage.
Well, I mean,
So
the
it's
whole
like one or the
insurance model or the business model of insurance companies is literally that. Like, take as much money as you can and cover the least amount of people you can.
That's so fucked. Like
It's even with like car insurance.
That's not an answer. Even if it's all privatized and they're competing, like it's not an answer.
No, yeah. So the
That's
killer, I can understand his frustration because
I think lots of people understand his frustration. And I think
So
that's the
that's
thing
what,
that
like,
people don't
really,
understand is that people are not condoning the murder. No, I don't think anyone's like, you know what? Yeah, it was good that he murdered him. No one thinks that he should be free. I think people joke about that, like, oh, free him. I don't think you think he should be free?
I think he should be free.
Are you being for real right now?
I'm being for real because it's like, think about like the other guy. What's his name? What was it?
Daniel Perry?
No, there's another guy, Rosenberg or something, or I don't know. His whatever. He had killed this. It was. I totally forgot, but he killed this black guy or something, and he like ended up being not guilty. And there was that like emotional, like ugly like shot that they took of him crying because he was like, "Oh my God, I'm not guilty," even though he killed this guy.
No way.
And like, I don't know what his name was, but.
Okay, that obviously don't take that as evidence. That's not a good argument. That makes no sense. No one knows.
No,
what
no.
you're talking about.
I think they know what I'm
You're
talking
like
about.
Atticus. Do you guys remember To Kill a Mockingbird? That book was crazy.
Wait. Wait, give me like 5 seconds.
Okay,
I'll
we're gonna
find
give him
it.
5 seconds while I pitch my argument. So my thought is, I don't think people are really arguing that this man Luigi, whatever his last name is, should be like exonerated because obviously he murdered him.
I got it.
Okay, fine. Go. Speak your
Sorry,
truth.
Wait. It was Kyle Rittenhouse. Do you remember that?
Oh, that was a whole different thing. Don't even bring that up. That was completely different, Alex.
No.
That was completely different.
No.
That was in self-defense, okay?
So he can claim self-defense too.
How's he going to claim self-defense?
You can claim self-defense. You can be like, well, I was protecting all the people who he's killed indirectly.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Obviously, in our justice system, that wouldn't like work. Because,
exactly. It wouldn't work. So
because
he
it
would go to jail
favors
as he
killing
should.
the poor people. That is what our justice system is meant to do.
I don't know if it's supposed to do that.
So why does it reward those who kill?
It kind of does indirectly do that.
Oh, so it does have an end result of doing that. It's not supposed to, but it does have that
because you can
effect.
afford better lawyers.
I think we need to right the wrongs of our justice system, but we clearly have not learned our lesson because we continue allowing people to kill people who shouldn't have been killed. And maybe those who should have, been pew-pewed deserve to be pew-pewed.
Like who? Are you saying that the
Honestly,
CEO deserved to be pew-pewed?
Yes, actually.
No, you can't say that. That's not true.
I think it is true. That is my take on things.
You're going to stand by that?
I actually will stand by that.
You're going to get so much hate. Everyone give hate to Alex in
Honestly,
the comments.
give me all the hate you want. If you read the Communist Manifesto, Karl Marx does say violence is necessary.
So you're a communist now?
He was not a communist. He is a Marxist.
So you're a Marxist?
Call me whatever you want. I totally agree with his basic premise and everything that he was arguing for.
What's his basic premise?
That capitalism is an exploitive system that will continue pushing the middle class into poverty until the poor can't.
Okay, this is getting away from the topic at hand. We're talking about Luigi murdering Brian.
So, yeah. What are your thoughts on Luigi?
What do you mean my thoughts on Luigi? My thoughts on Luigi is he had a back surgery, and I think he low-key went a little loco because apparently his family said he stopped talking to his family. He fell off the face of the earth. And there was something saying like, oh, he can't ever be intimate because of his back pain. He thinks that they took away his like future of like a family, of children, because like they fucked up his spine and they're not giving him approval for stuff. That apparently a relative had gone through the healthcare system, had issues, and so he was angry at the way it was all working out. And he was super smart, right? Didn't he had a master's from Ivy League schools and read like so many books, which I think if you read, you're just naturally smarter. I think that's like a thing, right? I don't read, so I don't know.
I mean, I think that's what's like really concerning is that he was all these like great things that people say, but like obviously the weight of the system really broke him, and it's like has nothing to do with anything. I don't think it has anything to do with him. Like, people are like, the media likes to be like, oh, I think he was like going through like a mental like breakdown and like this happened and that's why he like,
well, maybe he
lashed
was.
out. I don't think so. I think the system obviously breaks people and it reaches a point where like, you can't take it anymore. And the media is part of it. They play into the whole narrative of like, oh, this is not acceptable because they obviously make money too. All those ads that they get from the healthcare.
Yeah, honestly, that's what's really crazy is that
they'll be promoting like this is
private healthcare corporations.
Like it's like
they
some
give
fucking pain
they
medication.
give like millions of dollars to politicians. They like lobby for looser regulations. They'll pay media companies for advertisements for their products, for their services.
Why do you think Medicare for all has not happened?
Literally, what they want is they use their money to get their way, and they use their money and they give it to influential people so they can continue exploiting the poor people. Exactly. That's kind of proven because, I mean, you can track the donations they make. So it's clear that it's happening. It is capitalism. I think that it was like section something where it allows private corporations to donate to politicians, like that it can be revoked.
The court case Citizens United?
Yeah, Citizens United. I feel like that should be overturned, like reversed. That should not be a thing.
Well,
I don't think private companies should be able to donate as individuals.
Yeah, they consider corporations as individuals.
That makes no fucking sense. They're not an individual.
Essentially,
they're a for-profit business. Okay, they're obviously gonna do. They don't give a fuck about the good of people. They just care about their bottom line, making money. So they don't like that's crazy. But guess who got it passed? Probably politicians that were paid by these big companies to lobby for them and get it passed so that they can continue to further influence legislation.
That's like the whole thing. It's like people are like, oh, like, well, like one of like the, what people have been saying is that like, how are you supposed to like affect change in a political system that's so corrupt? And like people are like saying, no, he should have used the proper channels to affect change. And it's like, well, those channels have not been working and they continue to not work and they're not even motivated to change anything. Instead, they're talking about fucking
Yes,
increasing the defense
these are
budget
these
for
are
the next
politicians
year.
on like both sides of the aisle. This is like
No,
literally
yeah.
everyone, like left, right, they're all taking money,
Exactly.
which is crazy.
So obviously he resorted to violence as a way to try to convey a message. And it's like, you may not agree with the messenger or the message, but something was communicated.
Okay, I think that actually a lot of people do agree with the message. They don't necessarily agree with how he interpreted and executed that message through action. I think that's where the issue is, and I think it's totally valid to agree with his anger and not agree with his actions. That's totally like valid, and I think that's where most people are at. I don't think many people think it's a good thing that he did pew Brian, but many people do think that his anger was justified and that something does need to happen. And there's a reason why they don't really feel remorseful for the CEO, because the CEO had no remorse for thousands of, not hundreds of thousands, millions of people that he denied coverage just for the sake of a profit and for a yearly bonus. So it's hard to be asking for thoughts and prayers when that same person ruined the lives of thousands of people. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a tricky situation, because what happened was super unjust, but what the issues that CEO was perpetrating was also equally unjust. So,
No, yeah. And it's just like, well, it's just so funny, like what people are saying online, like the average American, and versus what the media says. It's like two different like realities.
That's so true.
It's like people are like, no, you don't get it. And then the people are like, no, you don't get it. Like,
yes, no,
violence
it was
is
even,
not
yeah,
justifiable.
it was even like Ben Shapiro, super conservative right wing man. He was saying like,
Well,
oh,
yeah,
the
'cause what
Democrats
does
are
he
saying
know
that it
about,
was
like-
good that the CEO was murdered, and his own followers, conservative followers, were saying, Ben, you're fucking wrong. I'm conservative. I'm on the right side of the aisle, and I think that man deserved what he got because he was exploiting other people and denying coverage, and he was taking advantage for a profit. So it doesn't, and I think that actually ties into kind of how Trump won the popular vote for the first time.
What?
Because he was speaking to people and their anger with politicians, big corporations, with the extremely wealthy, and he was speaking to those people saying like, we're going to take down these structures that have been in place to suppress you. And I think that's kind of what Luigi was representing when he was pew-pewing the CEO. Do you know what I'm saying? I think people really are getting fed up with the fact that these big companies pay these big politicians and they keep all the power within their circle in order to exploit the middle class, lower class, less wealthy.
I don't know if that's I don't know if you can compare those two and, say or use the same analysis to.
Yeah,
tie them
I might be
together.
stretching a little bit,
Because
but it makes sense in my brain. You know what I'm saying?
obviously, like when it comes to this has nothing to do with like right or left. It has to do with the fact that, the poor are being exploited by these corporations and their greed. And then Donald Trump is obviously exploiting, Americans and their fears and a lot of their, I guess, like, I don't know what to say, like their, I guess, desperation for hope. And they think that he is going to bring change to a government and a system that continues not working for them.
Okay, well, everyone got fucked over by inflation, the whole world.
No,
so
yeah,
I think when that happens, people are going to automatically just going to vote for the opposing party just because obviously they don't like inflation. Like, inflation was bad, let's vote for someone else. That's just the way it worked. I think that's what it ultimately came down to, in my opinion.
I think broken people find hope in people that they shouldn't be hoping that change will occur. They know that, and they exploit those fears, which is a bad thing. I mean, that's literally politics, and that's how they know they can win. Because
obviously they exploit their fears. Why do you think the border hasn't been fixed yet?
Well, immigration will never get fixed.
After how many years they can't fix immigration? There's a reason, folks. Like,
you heard it here first. He's not going to fix immigration. It's not going to get fixed. The reason why is because immigration is a very polarizing issue, and it helps win votes. Their job is not to fix things. It's to keep the status quo as is and to just run for re-election and continue running on broken promises. Donald Trump didn't fix immigration the first time around, and he'll blame the Democrats. And it's like, no, you could have found a way to work with them and fixed it. You just didn't want to.
Anyways,
but
back to Luigi.
Free Luigi.
Okay, free Luigi. I think people are going a little bit crazy, just because he's the exact opposite of what you would expect a murderer to look like, to be like, to I guess I don't know how to explain it, because he's so educated. Like, this man went to an Ivy League, bachelor's, master's. He has a 6-pack, for crying out loud. Lives in Hawaii. He reads 292 books.
What? He does not live in Hawaii.
I thought he lived in Hawaii.
No, the picture was taken in Hawaii.
Oh, the
but
picture
he
was
doesn't
taken.
live in
Yeah,
Hawaii.
you know what picture I'm talking about.
No, yeah, but he doesn't live in Hawaii.
Anyways, it's just like someone that has that much going for them, a big family. Like, they're not someone that typically will murder someone randomly. You know what I'm saying? So people can sympathize with the fact that he seems like a normal person. There's nothing to distinguish him from your friend, your neighbor, your brother, your sister. He seems totally normal. And so what your brain will conclude is that the only reason it happened is because he really felt that this evil system and this evil person at the head of this big corporation needed to be stopped. And he knows he's going to be caught. He literally didn't even dispose of the weapon. He just was moseying around town, and he knew he was going to get caught. He never thought he was going to get away. He's a smart enough guy that if he really was trying to get away, he at least would have ditched the weapon, okay? Let's just say that.
I mean, I don't know if he wasn't trying to get caught. Maybe he was, but there's obviously some like weird things with the whole story, because apparently he didn't know where the money came from when they caught him with a bag full of money. So there's also that. So
But they caught him with a bag full of Monopoly money, right?
No, it was not Monopoly money. It was actually real money.
Really? Where'd that story come that it was Monopoly money?
I think it was real money. I don't think it was Monopoly. I think that was a joke. They were joking. They said Monopoly money.
Oh, okay. Well, then fine. I guess it's real money. I don't know.
It's real money. But yeah, so.
Wait, where do you get the money from?
That's like.
From his family, from his Italian family.
So far.
They're mobsters. It's all adding up.
So far, there is no evidence against him, or at least the lawyer he has not found, or he hasn't been presenting any evidence that connects him with his actual client.
Isn't there video footage?
They can't prove that that's him. They can be lookalikes. You can say
lookalikes that happen to be wearing the same exact thing in the same area at the same time.
You can't. You have to prove that it's him, though. How are you going to prove that?
You do have to prove.
Yeah, you have to prove it's him.
Obviously, innocent until proven guilty.
No, it's beyond reasonable doubt.
I really wonder if there's going to be a GoFundMe started for him. Do you think there will be?
Oh no, yeah. There's already the lawyer already got so many calls about people who want to donate and pay for the legal team.
But his family's super wealthy. That's what's crazy.
Well, why do you think they denied bail?
What?
They denied bail.
They denied bail?
Because he obviously they would have paid it.
You're right.
Or people would have paid it.
Damn, they're good.
So that's why they denied bail, because they knew he would
he would get the money to get out.
Yeah. So he was denied bail. And I guess we'll see what happens.
I know it'll be interesting to see the trial commence, if there's a full on trial, which I don't know if there will be.
There will be a trial. What do you mean?
With a jury and everything?
Yes.
That's not always the case, though. Sometimes, what if there's a plea deal, or what if there's,
As of right now, I don't see him pleading guilty. If I were him, I would not plead guilty, or at least if I was his lawyer, I would not plead guilty.
You kind of look like him, just like a buffer version of him.
Okay, what does this have to do with Luigi and
anyways, well, you're saying if you were him, okay.
Well, I was saying no, if I were his lawyer, I would not. I mean, not that I'm a lawyer or anything, but I just it does not make sense why he would plead guilty or enter a plea deal.
Well, they're going to have evidence. Apparently, he had the weapon with him, Alex. If he has the weapon with him, they're obviously going to be able to tie it to the bullet shot, and they're going to know that it was him.
They haven't proven that, though.
But when they do, maybe he'll take a plea deal, is what I'm saying.
Maybe. But let's talk about the McDonald's worker, too.
The McDonald's worker? Okay, you got to be some low-life motherfucker to be ratting on Luigi. Okay.
I mean, they are low life because they clearly didn't read how to claim the $50,000.
What do you mean how to claim it?
You can't. You have to call the hotline or the tip line, not 911. They called 911.
They called 911, so they didn't get the reward.
No
way.
And then the Secretary of State still has to approve it.
You're kidding.
Yeah, and it's only up to 50,000, so it wouldn't even be the full amount. It's up to $50,000.
So this person snitched on him for the reward money and didn't get it?
No. They'll continue to be frying those fucking fish fillets and messing up people's fucking orders and missing their French fries.
That's wild. Okay, so I think that covers everything for Luigi. We'll stay tuned for his trial and everything.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Okay, signing off. Farewell, motherfuckers. Peace out.